The ban on evictions will not be extended beyond the end of this month.
Just this week, the government announced they are not extending the eviction ban. It made the national news, as you could expect it. Let's have a look at the bulletin and I'll give you my comments on what's in the media.
The ban on evictions will not be extended beyond the end of this month. The Minister for Housing has said this was due to concerns that an extension would damage the supply of rental properties in the long term.
The minute they brought in an eviction ban, the minute they made any mention or even just flirting with the idea of an eviction ban, the damage was done. It's as simple as that. The problem now is so many landlords have left the market and we're left with a smaller rental stock to service the needs of the population. The damage is already done here, folks.
In the Doyle, the Taoiseach said more people became homeless during the moratorium and that the decision to end it was taken for the public good. However, housing charities and opposition parties have warned that the lifting of the ban will result in a rise in homelessness.
It's easy to play around with figures. The lifting of the ban will result in more people vacating properties now that the ban is gone than when the ban was in place. Absolutely, but the fact that they brought that ban into play has caused so much damage already. Every single thing that the government seem to do, it doesn't work. It just sets things in motion in the wrong direction. And now we're left dealing with the consequences.
Increasing supply is key to addressing the crisis, and I think that's understood by most. Extending the eviction ban would not do that.
Increasing supply is the key. There we go. I've been saying it for the last number of years. We need to encourage landlords back into the market. We need to welcome landlords back into the market. We need to make it profitable for a landlord to operate in the market. I've said it for the last few years that things are going to get worse for landlords and things are going to get worse in the housing market before they get better. Is it going to get a little bit worse? Or are we at that point now where things are starting to turn? The fact that the Housing Minister has now acknowledged that increasing supply is the key thing. Hopefully we're starting to turn a corner here.
But might it lead to more evictions in the immediate period ahead?
It could very possibly, that could be the case, and that's why this decision isn't taken lightly.
He answered that question in a very unpolitician-like manner, a direct question, quite possibly. And this could come back to haunt him, but respect to the man, he's come out and said it as it is. He didn't sugarcoat it, he didn't try to hide behind anything, he said it as it is. And he's got quite a difficult job here now, because the fact of the matter is, it's undersupply is the issue, nothing else.
We need to stem the tide of landlords leaving. More importantly, we need to encourage more landlords to come back in. And it's our assessment that if we'd extended this moratorium for a longer period, it would have made matters worse in the medium term, not better.
What have they done to stop landlords leaving the market other than this eviction ban? Now, if he thinks that that's actually stopped landlords leaving the market, I believe he's completely wrong. It's actually accelerated landlords leaving the market. The reason being, they don't know, is the next eviction ban going to be a 2-year eviction ban, a 3-year eviction ban? Are we going down the road of compulsory purchases? What's going on? We need to understand something here. A typical landlord owns 1 or 2 properties. So when they own 1 or 2 properties, they're a self-employed person who most likely didn't have a pension and they bought a property or 2 to pay off during their working career and then live off that income as they retire. Now this investment vehicle has been taken off the table in the eyes of so many of the small landlords. The reason being, the uncertainty is frightening the bejesus out of them. And rightly so. They can't spend their entire life working to clear off a mortgage on a couple of rental properties only to have the rug pulled from them at the last minute. So the landlords are leaving the market. It's an undersupply issue now at this stage. They're not leaving and taking their houses with them. They're not leaving them and giving the houses to another landlord who's going to rent them out. They're leaving and selling the houses, and the houses are getting sold to somebody who's going to buy them as their family home, which means the rental stock is dwindling all the time.
Now, the government is insisting today that more help is on the way for renters, including a plan to give them first refusal if their home is put up for sale, or it could be bought by an approved housing body and they could continue to live there. While local authorities are set to purchase up to 1,500 homes where social housing tenants face the threat of eviction. Micheál Lahan, RT News.
Local authorities and housing bodies are going to buy the properties as the landlords are selling them up. Perfect. Go and do it. But like everything else, it's going to take a long, long time before it filters in. We're in a situation that I'm not sure what the exact housing stock numbers are at the moment, but they're far less than what's needed. If the local authorities and the housing bodies buy the properties from the landlords leaving the market, that will stop it getting any worse, but it ain't going to improve things. There needs to be some kind of incentive to welcome landlords back into the market. And unfortunately, up until now, the political appetite hasn't been there for that, even though it's needed to be done. I noticed the tone of the housing minister there. I've also noticed a few comments there from the Taoiseach over the last while, and he's acknowledging that we need to increase supply. So what are they going to do? I don't know, but hopefully something happens soon. Guys, you'll hear people on both sides of the argument that are taking sides. Let me explain to you something. The housing market needs landlords. The housing market also needs tenants. Tenants need landlords as much as landlords need tenants. It's as simple as that. There is no need for them to be pitted against each other in any way, shape or form. Unfortunately, what's happened after the crash and the repercussions and the lack of political will to pay any attention to the needs of the market from the landlord's perspective, we're in a situation now where it's not favourable to be a landlord anymore. And let's look at it this way. Rents have never been as high. So landlords have never been able to collect as much rent as they're collecting now, and yet they're still leaving the market. So if you're pro-landlord or pro-tenant, just look at it from a pro-common sense point of view. Landlords are collecting more rent now than they've ever managed to collect, but yet they're leaving the market in higher numbers than ever before. So there's something causing that anomaly there, and that something is the constant tinkering by the government with the rules, the regulations and the guidelines, and the fear that if we get a left-wing government, they're going to come in and absolutely have landlords hung, drawn and quartered. Once the appetite is not there, the problems emerge. We need to encourage more landlords back into the market, otherwise things are going to get a hell of a lot worse, not just in the housing sector, but for the economy as a whole. And bear in mind, we're having this conversation as there's tens of thousands of people getting shipped into the country and immediately housed. I'll leave that one with you.